The words slipped out of her mouth before pride could stop them. "Please marry me." The billionaire CEO of a glass and steel empire stood shaking in a dim hallway, begging the janitor who held a mop like a shield between them. Elena Cross had never begged anyone in her life. The boardroom feared her. Investors chased her approval. Magazines called her the Iron Widow of Silicon Heights. But none of that mattered anymore. Not when the court deadline was 48 hours away. Not when the future of her daughter hung on one impossible condition, and the janitor, quiet, broad-shouldered, eyes calm in a way money had never taught, looked at her as if she were just another human being. His name was Daniel Reed. Elena was 36, self-made, and a single mother to 6-year-old Mia. After her husband died in a private plane crash, she buried herself in work and raised Mia with nannies, tutors, and every luxury except time. For years, that seemed enough until her late husband's estranged parents resurfaced with an army of lawyers. They wanted custody of Mia. Their argument was cruel but effective. Elena was emotionally unavailable, married to her empire, and incapable of providing a stable family structure. The judge, old-fashioned and unimpressed by wealth, delivered a brutal ultimatum. "Provide a stable 2-parent household," he said, "or the court will reconsider custody." Elena laughed that night, hysterically. Then she cried until morning. She didn't need love, she told herself. She needed a solution. That's when she noticed Daniel. He had worked nights in her headquarters for 3 years. Never late. Never spoke unless spoken to. He cleaned around framed awards and glowing screens like he belonged to a different world. One untouched by stock prices and lawsuits. One evening, Elena stayed late, reviewing legal documents until her vision blurred. She wandered into the hallway, heels clicking like a countdown. Daniel was there, humming softly as he mopped. She stopped, watched him. He was reading a children's book during his break. "For your kid?" she asked without thinking. "My niece," Daniel replied. "Her mom works double shifts. I read to her every night." Something tightened in Elena's chest. Over the next few weeks, she found excuses to pass by. They talked about books, about cooking, about how silence could be comforting instead of lonely. Daniel never asked for favors, never flinched at her status, never treated her like a headline. When the custody hearing loomed closer, desperation made Elena reckless. That night in the hallway, she told him everything. The lawsuit, the ultimatum, the fear of losing Mia. "I don't love you," she said honestly, voice breaking. "But I respect you. I trust you. I need help." Daniel listened without interrupting. When she finished, he leaned on his mop and looked at her carefully. "You're asking me to marry you," he said. "Not for love. For survival." She nodded, tears threatening. "I'll make it worth your while. Any amount. Any condition." That's when he shocked her. "I don't want your money," Daniel said quietly. "And I won't be your pretend husband." Elena's heart dropped. "But," he continued, "I'll marry you on one condition." Hope flickered. "Anything." "You quit your job," he said. The hallway went silent. "What?" she whispered. "Not forever," Daniel added, "but long enough to actually be a mother. No assistants, no boardrooms, just you and your daughter. If I'm doing this, it's not a lie. That child deserves more than a legal loophole." Elena stared at him like he'd asked her to give up oxygen. Her company was her armor, her identity. Walking away, even temporarily, felt like death. "You don't understand," she said. "Thousands of people depend on me. And one little girl depends on you more." Daniel replied gently. He picked up his mop. "Think about it." She did. All night, all morning, through meetings she barely heard. Through a video call where Mia asked, "Mommy, will you read to me tonight?" Elena closed her laptop. She resigned that afternoon. The news exploded. Stocks wobbled. Headlines screamed. No one understood why the most powerful woman in tech would step down weeks before a major merger, and no one knew she was sitting on the floor that evening, building a puzzle with her daughter for the first time. She called Daniel the next day. "I'll do it," she said. "Your way." The marriage was quiet. No press. No contracts beyond a simple prenup Daniel barely glanced at. He moved into the guest room, cooked breakfast, walked Mia to school. At tea first, Elena felt useless, awkward, like a guest in her own home. But slowly, something changed. She learned Mia liked pancakes shaped like stars, that bedtime stories mattered more than bonuses, that silence could be filled with laughter instead of emails. The custody hearing came. Daniel stood beside Elena, not as a prop, but as a partner. When questioned, he didn't boast or pretend. "I didn't marry Elena for money," he told the court. "I married her because she chose her child over her power, and that choice matters." The judge watched Mia run into Elena's arms during recess footage. Case dismissed. They won. But that night, Elena cried harder than she had in years. "I don't deserve this," she said to Daniel. "You gave up your privacy, your life, for us." Daniel smiled sadly. "It was always temporary. You'll go back to your world. I'll go back to mine." That's when Elena realized the truth scared her more than the court ever had. "I don't want it to be temporary," she said. Weeks passed. Elena didn't return to the CEO chair. She joined the company board instead, choosing balance over control. She cooked. She read. She listened. One evening, Daniel packed his bag. "The deal's done," he said gently. "Mia's safe." Elena stood in the doorway, heart racing, not as a billionaire, but as a woman. "You once said you wouldn't be my pretend husband," she said. "What about being my real one?" Daniel studied her, searching for the armor she no longer wore. "No deals," he said. "No ultimatums." "I know," Elena replied. "Just a question." He set the bag down. Months later, Elena Cross returned to public life, not as the Iron Widow, but as a leader who left boardrooms at 5. Daniel opened a community literacy center funded quietly, without headlines. People never understood why a billionaire married a janitor. They were asking the wrong question. Love doesn't come from power or rescue. It comes from choosing what truly matters when everything else is stripped away. And sometimes, the most shocking request isn't "please marry me." It's "please change," and meaning it.